Have you ever felt like the world is spinning out of control? Maybe it's a sudden job loss, a market crash wiping out your savings, or the endless noise of social media bombarding you with opinions you didn't ask for. You lie awake at night, your mind racing, trying to fix things you can't touch, things like other people's actions, tomorrow's uncertainties, or the chaos of a world that feels like it's unraveling. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. We've all been there, trapped in a cycle of worry, chasing control over things that slip through our fingers like sand. But what if there's a way to find peace, not by controlling the chaos, but by mastering what's already within your power? Welcome to the Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control, a timeless idea that can transform how you navigate life's storms. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful concepts from Stoicism, a philosophy born over 2,000 years ago, yet more relevant than ever in our fast-paced, unpredictable world. The dichotomy of control, first articulated by the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, teaches us to focus only on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, our choices, and let go of everything else. It's not about ignoring the chaos, it's about choosing where to direct your energy so you can live with clarity, purpose, and resilience. Whether you're facing economic uncertainty, the pressure of social media comparisons, or personal setbacks, this principle offers a roadmap to inner freedom. Let's paint a picture. Imagine you're scrolling through your phone, and the news hits you like a tidal wave. Another stock market dip, another round of layoffs, another viral post criticizing something you care about. Your heart races, your stomach tightens. You want to do something, anything to make it stop. But the truth is, most of what's stressing you out is beyond your control. You can't single-handedly fix the economy. You can't silence every critic online. You can't predict what tomorrow will bring. Trying to control these things is like trying to hold back the tide. It's exhausting, and it doesn't work. The Stoics knew this, and they gave us a better way. In this video, we're going to explore the dichotomy of control through a story of someone just like you, someone who faced failure and found a way to rise above it by focusing on what truly matters. We'll break down the philosophy, show you how it applies to modern life, and give you practical tools to start using it today. By the end, you'll have a clear, actionable way to reduce anxiety and reclaim your peace. No matter what the world throws at you, this isn't about ignoring reality. It's about facing it with strength and wisdom. Why does this matter? Because we live in a time of constant noise. The average American spends over 2 hours a day on social media, bombarded by opinions, ads, and outrage. Economic forecasts shift daily, leaving us uncertain about the future. Relationships strain under the weight of expectations we can't meet. The Stoics didn't have smartphones or stock markets, but they faced their own chaos wars, exile, loss, and they thrived by mastering their minds. Their wisdom can help us do the same. Here's what's coming up. We'll start with the core idea from Epictetus, then follow the journey of a character who learns to apply it after a crushing setback. We'll look at how Stoic giants like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca used this principle, and we'll connect it to challenges you face today, like navigating social media or surviving financial stress. We'll even dive into modern science that backs up the Stoic approach and give you a practical exercise to start today. By the time we're done, you'll see that you don't need to control the world to find peace. You just need to control yourself. So, stick with us. If you're ready to stop worrying about what you can't change and start mastering what you can, hit that subscribe button and let's get started. This is Lab Stoic, and today We're learning how to take back control not of the world, but of ourselves. Let's dive into the heart of Stoicism's most liberating idea, the dichotomy of control. This principle, first articulated by the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, is a simple yet profound framework that can change how you approach life's challenges. At its core, it's about drawing a clear line between what you can control and what you cannot, and then choosing to focus only on the former. It's a mental shift that frees you from the weight of things beyond your reach and empowers you to act with purpose on what's within your grasp. In a world where we're constantly pulled in every direction by news, opinions, or unpredictable events, this principle is your anchor. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, put it best in his Enchiridion. Some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever is our own doing. Not within our power are our body, property, reputation, office, and, in a word, whatever is not our own doing. Let's unpack this. What Epictetus is saying is that your mind, your judgments, your intentions, your choices is your domain. These are the things you can shape and direct. But external outcomes, the weather, the economy, what someone thinks of you, those are outside your control. And clinging to them is a recipe for frustration. Think about it like this. Imagine you're steering a ship. You can control the rudder, your decisions, your effort, your attitude, but you can't control the wind or the waves, the external forces that push against you. The Stoics teach us to stop fighting the wind and focus on the rudder. This doesn't mean you ignore the storm. It means you navigate it with skill and focus. By letting go of what you can't control, you free up mental energy to master what you can. It's a radical shift from how most of us live, constantly worrying about things we can't change. So, what exactly falls into each category? Let's break it down. Things you can control include your thoughts, your reactions, your values, and your actions. For example, you can choose to approach a difficult conversation with calm and respect, even if the other person is hostile. You can decide to wake up early and work toward your goals. Even if you're tired, you can shape your perspective, choosing to see a setback as a chance to grow rather than a failure. These are your domain, your power. No one can take them away from you unless you let them. On the other hand, things you can't control include external events and other people's actions or opinions. You can't control whether your boss gives you a promotion, but you can control how diligently you work. You can't control what someone posts about you online, but you can control whether you let it ruin your day. You can't control the stock market's ups and downs, but you can control how you manage your finances. The Stoics argue that wasting energy on these external things is not just futile, it's a betrayal of your own potential. Why spend your life chasing what you can't hold? This distinction sounds simple, but it's not always easy to apply. We're wired to care about outcomes. Society tells us success is about results, money, status, approval. But the Stoics flip this script. They say true success lies in mastering your own mind and actions. Regardless of the outcome, Epictetus didn't care whether he was rich or famous. He cared about living with integrity. This mindset is what allowed him to remain unshaken, even when he was enslaved or exiled. He knew his inner freedom was untouchable. Let's make this concrete. Imagine you're preparing for a big presentation at work. You've practiced, you've researched, you've done everything in your power to make it great. But on the day of the presentation, your boss is in a bad mood, or a colleague asks a tough question you didn't anticipate. The outcome Whether they love your presentation or not isn't fully in your control. Their reactions depend on their biases, their day, their perspective. If you tie your peace of mind to their approval, you're setting yourself up for anxiety. But if you focus on what you can control, your preparation, your delivery, your attitude, you walk away knowing you did your best, no matter the result. This principle isn't about apathy or giving up. It's about redirecting your energy to where it matters. The Stoics weren't passive. They were active, disciplined, and purposeful. They believed in taking action within their sphere of control, while accepting that outcomes are uncertain. This balance is what makes the dichotomy of control so powerful. It's not about detachment from the world. It's about engaging with it on your terms. Why is this so relevant today? Because we live in an age of overload. Every day, we're hit with things we can't control. Breaking news, viral trends, economic shifts. Social media amplifies this, making us feel like we need to respond to everything. But the more we try to control the uncontrollable, the more we lose ourselves. The dichotomy of control offers a way out. It's a reminder that your power lies not in fixing the world, but in mastering your response to it. By focusing on your thoughts and actions, you reclaim your peace, your purpose, and your strength. In the next part of this video, we'll bring this idea to life with a story of someone who faced a crushing setback and discovered the power of focusing on what they could control. It's a journey that will show you how this principle can transform not just your mindset, but your entire life. Stay with us. Let's bring the dichotomy of control to life with a story about Sarah, a 32-year-old marketing manager in Chicago whose world turned upside down after a single email. Sarah had poured her heart into her career, climbing the ranks at a fast-growing startup. She was the kind of person who thrived on deadlines, loved crafting campaigns, and dreamed of leading her team to new heights. But one Monday morning, everything changed. An email from her CEO landed in her inbox. The company was downsizing, and her position was eliminated. Just like that, her dream job was gone. Sarah was devastated. For weeks, she spiraled. She'd lie awake at night, replaying every meeting, every project, wondering what she could have done differently. Had she missed a warning sign? Could she have worked harder? She checked her phone obsessively, hoping for a follow-up email saying it was all a mistake. Social media didn't help her. Feeds were filled with colleagues celebrating new jobs or promotions, each post like a dagger to her confidence. She felt powerless, angry, and lost, trapped in a cycle of what-ifs and if-onlys. The world seemed to be slipping out of her control. One evening, scrolling through a podcast app, Sarah stumbled across a discussion about Stoicism. The host quoted Epictetus, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The words hit her like a lightning bolt. She realized she was pouring her energy into things she couldn't change. The company's decision, the economy, her colleagues' success. But what if she focused on what she could control? Her thoughts, her actions. Her response to this setback, that idea sparked something in her, a flicker of hope. Sarah began researching Stoicism, diving into Epictetus's teachings. She learned about the dichotomy of control and decided to apply it. First, she made a list of what she couldn't control. The layoffs, her former boss's decision, the job market, or what people thought of her situation. Writing it down was cathartic. It was like releasing a weight she'd been carrying. Then, she listed what she could control: her daily routine, her attitude, her effort to find new opportunities, and how she treated herself in the process. This simple act of dividing her world into these two categories gave her clarity she hadn't felt in weeks. She started small. Each morning, Sarah committed to a routine she could control, waking up at 7 a.m., meditating for 10 minutes, and spending an hour updating her portfolio. Instead of scrolling social media and comparing herself to others, she chose to mute accounts that triggered her insecurity. She couldn't control whether a recruiter would call her back, but she could control the quality of her applications. So, she spent hours tailoring her resume, writing thoughtful cover letters, and reaching out to her network, not with desperation, but with purpose. The shift wasn't instant. There were days when doubt crept in, when rejection emails stung, or when she overheard a friend say, "It's tough out there. She might be out of work for a while." Those moments tested her, but Sarah leaned on the dichotomy of control. She couldn't change the job market or people's opinions, but she could choose not to let them define her. She reminded herself of Epictetus's words, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Instead of dwelling on rejection, she focused on learning from each application, refining her skills, and staying open to possibilities. One day, while browsing a job board, Sarah found a listing for a freelance marketing project. It wasn't her dream job, it paid less and wasn't permanent, but she saw it as a chance to act within her control. She poured her energy into the proposal, showcasing her skills and enthusiasm. To her surprise, she got the gig. It wasn't just the work that felt like a win, it was the realization that her effort, her mindset, had created this opportunity. The freelance role led to connections, then a part-time position, and eventually a full-time offer at a company that valued her talents. Sarah's story isn't about a fairy tale ending where everything falls perfectly into place. It's about transformation. She didn't magically control the economy or erase the pain of losing her job, but by focusing on what she could control, her mindset, her actions, her resilience, she reclaimed her power. She stopped letting external events dictate her happiness and started building a life rooted in her own choices. The layoffs, the rejections, the social media noise, they were still there, but they no longer owned her. This is the power of the dichotomy of control. Sarah's journey shows us that when we let go of what we can't change and double down on what we can, we find strength we didn't know we had. It's not about ignoring the chaos of the world. It's about navigating it with purpose. In the next part of this video, we'll explore how Stoic giants like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca used this principle to face their own challenges, proving its timeless wisdom. Stay with us. The dichotomy of control isn't just a modern tool for managing stress. It's a principle forged in the fires of adversity by some of history's greatest minds. The Stoic philosophers, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca didn't just teach this idea, they lived it, facing trials that would break most of us. Their stories show us how focusing on what we can control can anchor us through life's storms, whether it's slavery, war, or exile. Let's explore how these Stoic giants applied the dichotomy of control, proving its power across centuries and offering lessons we can use today. First, let's look at Epictetus, the philosopher who gave us the dichotomy of control. Born a slave in the Roman Empire around 50 AD, Epictetus had no control over his early life. His body belonged to his master, a cruel official who once broke Epictetus's leg for sport. Most people would have been consumed by bitterness, but Epictetus turned inward. He couldn't control his status or his master's actions, but he could control his mind. He studied philosophy, focusing on his thoughts and reactions. After gaining his freedom, he became a teacher, emphasizing that true freedom lies in mastering your judgments. In his discourses, he wrote, There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Epictetus didn't waste energy resenting his past. He built a life of purpose by focusing on his inner world. His story reminds us that even in the worst circumstances, we have the power to choose our perspective. Next, consider Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled from 161 to 180 AD. You might think an emperor had total control, but Marcus faced constant chaos, wars, plagues, betrayals, and a rebellious son. While leading armies on freezing battlefields, he wrote his Meditations, a personal journal never meant for publication. In it, he constantly reminded himself of the dichotomy of control. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus couldn't control the barbarian invasions or the plague decimating Rome, but he could control his integrity, his patience, and his commitment to justice. One entry reflects this perfectly. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. By focusing on his character, Marcus led Rome through crisis with wisdom, not despair. His example shows us that even those at the top face things beyond their control, and the answer lies in mastering ourselves. Finally, let's turn to Seneca, a Stoic philosopher and advisor to Emperor Nero. Seneca's life was a roller coaster of power and peril. He amassed wealth and influence, but he also faced exile and lived under the threat of Nero's unpredictable wrath. In 41 AD, Seneca was banished to the barren island of Corsica, stripped of his status and comforts. Instead of despairing, he used the dichotomy of control to thrive. He couldn't change his exile, but he could control his response. He wrote letters and essays, reflecting on virtue and resilience, including this gem: "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Seneca focused on his writing, his philosophy, and his inner peace, turning exile into a period of growth. Even later, when Nero ordered his death, Seneca faced it calmly, choosing dignity over fear. His life teaches us that external losses, wealth, status, even life itself, don't define us. Our choices do. What unites these three men is their refusal to let external chaos dictate their inner state. Epictetus, a slave, couldn't control his freedom, but shaped his mind. Marcus, an emperor, couldn't control his empire's crises, but governed his character. Seneca, an exile, couldn't control his circumstances, but mastered his response. They didn't just survive, they thrived by focusing on what was in their power, their thoughts, actions, and values. This is the dichotomy of control in action, not a theory, but a way of life. How does this apply to us? Like Epictetus, you might face situations where you feel powerless, a job loss, a health scare, or criticism you didn't ask for. Like Marcus, you might be overwhelmed by responsibilities or external pressures. Like Seneca, you might lose something you value, whether it's money, status, or time. The Stoics show us that these challenges don't have to break us. By focusing on what we can control, our effort, our perspective, our integrity, we can face any storm with courage. These historical examples aren't just inspiring, they're proof that the dichotomy of control works. In the next part of this video, we'll bring this principle into the modern world, showing you how to apply it to today's challenges, like navigating social media, surviving economic uncertainty, or handling personal setbacks. Stay with us. The dichotomy of control isn't just a dusty philosophy from ancient Rome. It's a practical tool for navigating the complexities of modern life. Today, we face challenges the Stoics could scarcely imagine. A 247 news cycle, the pressure of social media, economic volatility, and the constant demands of work and relationships. Yet, the principle remains as relevant as ever. By focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, we can find clarity and strength amid the chaos. Let's explore how to apply the dichotomy of control to 4 key areas of modern life: economic uncertainty, social media overload, personal relationships, and health challenges. With real-world examples, we'll see how this Stoic principle can transform the way you live. The economy can feel like a roller coaster. One day, the stock market is soaring. The next, it's plummeting. Layoffs hit unexpectedly, and rising costs make budgeting a nightmare. In 2023, the U.S. saw inflation rates hover around 4 to 6%, squeezing household budgets. While job insecurity spiked in tech and other sectors, it's easy to feel helpless when your financial stability seems to hang by a thread. But the dichotomy of control offers a way forward. You can't control market crashes, inflation, or your company's decision. What you can control is how you respond. Take Alex, a software engineer laid off during a tech downturn. Instead of panicking, he focused on what was in his power: upskilling through online courses, networking with industry contacts, and cutting unnecessary expenses. He couldn't force a job offer, but he could control his effort and mindset. Within months, he landed a freelance gig that led to a better role than his previous job. The lesson: focus on your financial habits, saving, learning, adapting rather than obsessing over economic trends you can't change. Create a budget, invest in skills, and approach opportunities with discipline. The economy may be out of your hands, but your resilience isn't. Social media is a double-edged sword. It connects us, but also bombards us with comparison, Autrage, and noise. The average American spends over 2 hours daily on platforms like Instagram and X, often feeling worse. Afterward, you see a colleague's promotion post, a friend's perfect vacation, or a viral argument you're tempted to jump into. The dichotomy of control reminds us you can't control what others post, how many likes you get, or the algorithm's whims, but you can control how you engage. Consider Maya, a graphic designer who felt drained comparing her work to influencers online. She realized she couldn't control their success or followers' opinions, so she shifted focus. She muted accounts that triggered envy, set a 30-minute daily limit for social media, and poured her energy into creating a portfolio she was proud of. The result: less anxiety and more creative output. You can do the same. Curate your feed, set boundaries, and focus on your growth rather than external validation. Social media doesn't have to own your peace, you do. Relationships are messy because they involve other people's actions, which we can't control. Whether it's a partner's mood, a friend's criticism, or a family member's choices, we often tie our happiness to others' behavior. The dichotomy of control teaches us to let go of this trap. Take James, who struggled with his sister's constant negativity. Every conversation left him frustrated. Trying to change her outlook, applying Stoic wisdom, he realized he couldn't control her attitude, but he could control his response. He chose to listen with empathy, set boundaries when needed, and focus on being a supportive brother without expecting her to change. Over time, their relationship improved not because she changed, but because he did. You can apply this too. In conflicts, Focus on your tone, your listening, and your values. You can't control how others act, but you can control the kind of person you are in the relationship. This shift builds stronger connections and protects your peace. Health issues, whether physical or mental, can feel like the ultimate loss of control. A diagnosis, chronic pain, or anxiety can dominate your life. While you can't always control your body's condition, you can control your approach to it. Consider Lisa, who was diagnosed with a chronic illness that limited her energy. At first, she was consumed by anger, wishing she could fix her body. Then, she embraced the dichotomy of control. She couldn't cure her illness, but she could control her diet, exercise within her limits, and mindset. She started journaling to process her emotions, sought therapy to build mental resilience, and focused on small daily wins, like a short walk or a healthy meal. Over time, she felt more empowered. Even with her condition, the Stoics would approve. You can't always control your health, but you can control your habits and attitude, whether it's sticking to a treatment plan, practicing mindfulness, or seeking support. These choices are your power. These examples, Alex, Maya, James, Lisa, show the dichotomy of control in action. In each case, the challenge was real, but the solution lay in focusing on what was within their power. This principle aligns with modern psychology, like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which emphasizes changing how we think and act in response to events. By applying the dichotomy, you reduce anxiety, build resilience, and reclaim agency. It's not about ignoring the world's chaos. It's about choosing where to direct your energy. You don't need to control the stock market, social media, other people, or your body's every outcome. You just need to control your response. Ready to apply this today? Start by identifying one area of your life: finances, social media, relationships, or health, where you feel overwhelmed. Ask yourself, what can I control here? Maybe it's setting a budget, limiting screen time, listening better, or prioritizing rest. Write down one action you can take and commit to it. For example, if social media stresses you, try a 24-hour detox and focus on a hobby instead. If a relationship feels strained, practice responding with patience next time. These small steps build momentum, proving you have more power than you think. The dichotomy of control isn't a quick fix. It's a practice. But every time you choose to focus on your thoughts, actions, and values, you're living like a Stoic, navigating the modern world with ancient wisdom. In the next part, we'll explore the benefits of this approach and how science backs it up, giving you even more reasons to embrace it. Stay with us. The dichotomy of control isn't just a philosophical idea. It's a practical lifeline that can transform how you handle life's challenges. By focusing on what you can control: your thoughts, actions, and choices, and letting go of what you can't, you unlock a path to less anxiety, greater resilience, and a deeper sense of purpose. This Stoic principle, rooted in ancient wisdom, aligns with modern science, offering benefits that are both timeless and backed by research. Let's explore how applying the dichotomy of control can improve your mental health, strengthen your emotional endurance, and empower you to live with clarity, supported by insights from psychology. First, let's talk about reducing anxiety. Life today is a pressure cooker. Economic uncertainty, social media noise, and personal expectations can leave you feeling overwhelmed. The dichotomy of control cuts through this by redirecting your focus. When you stop worrying about things outside your power, like market crashes or others' opinions, you free your mind from a cycle of stress. For example, Instead of obsessing over whether you'll get a promotion, you focus on doing your best work. This shift reduces what psychologists call cognitive overload, the mental strain of juggling too many uncontrollable variables. A 2019 study in the Journal of Anxiety Disorders found that focusing on controllable factors such as personal effort and mindset significantly lowers anxiety levels. The Stoics were onto this long before science caught up. By narrowing your focus to your own actions, you reclaim mental peace. Another key benefit is increased resilience. Life throws curveballs, job losses, health issues, or strained relationships. The dichotomy of control builds mental toughness by teaching you to anchor yourself in what you can influence. When you focus on your response rather than the outcome, setbacks lose their power to derail you. Take someone facing rejection after a job interview. Instead of dwelling on the employer's decision, they can focus on refining their skills or preparing better next time. This mirrors cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, a modern therapeutic approach rooted in Stoic ideas. CBT teaches that changing how you think about events, focusing on your interpretations and actions, builds emotional strength. A 2021 meta-analysis in Psychological Bulletin showed CBT reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety by helping people reframe uncontrollable events, much like the Stoics did. The dichotomy also fosters a sense of empowerment. In a world where we're bombarded by external pressures, 247 news, social media, comparisons, or unpredictable markets, it's easy to feel like a victim of circumstance. The Stoics remind us that no one can take away your ability to choose your mindset. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By focusing on your thoughts and actions, you take ownership of your life. For instance, you can't control a toxic co-worker's behavior, but you can control how you respond with professionalism or detachment. This sense of agency is psychologically powerful. Research from the Journal of Positive Psychology 2020 shows that a sense of control over one's actions correlates with higher life satisfaction and lower stress. The dichotomy of control hands you the reins to your inner world. Beyond mental health, this principle enhances decision-making. When you focus on what's in your power, you make clearer, more intentional choices. Instead of reacting impulsively to external events like arguing online over a post you can't change, you pause and choose a response aligned with your values. This aligns with mindfulness practices, which emphasize present moment awareness and intentional action. A 2022 study in mindfulness found that mindfulness-based interventions, which share Stoic roots, improve decision-making by reducing emotional reactivity. The Stoics were early masters of this, urging us to act with purpose rather than be swept away by external chaos. Finally, the dichotomy of control cultivates a life of meaning. By prioritizing your character and actions, you align with what the Stoics called virtue, living with wisdom, courage, and integrity. This isn't about external success. It's about being the best version of yourself. When you focus on what you can control, you build a life rooted in purpose, not fleeting outcomes. Modern psychology supports this. A 2023 study in Nature, Human Behavior found that pursuing intrinsic goals like personal growth leads to greater well-being than chasing external rewards like wealth or fame. The Stoics knew this centuries ago, and their wisdom still holds. The beauty of the dichotomy of control is its simplicity and universality. Whether you're navigating a financial crisis, a social media storm, or a personal setback, It gives you a framework to act with clarity and strength. Science confirms what the Stoics intuited: by mastering your mind and actions, you reduce stress, build resilience, and live more fully. In the next part, we'll give you a practical exercise to start applying this principle today, so you can experience these benefits for yourself. Stay with us. You've learned the power of the dichotomy of control. Now it's time to put it into practice. The Stoics believed wisdom isn't just about understanding, it's about action. This exercise will help you apply the principle to your life, reducing anxiety and building resilience. We'll start with a core activity inspired by Epictetus, then add a Stoic journaling practice to deepen your progress. Grab a pen, paper, or your phone, and let's get started with tools you can use today to focus on what you can control. Take a moment to reflect on a situation stressing you out, maybe a work deadline, a strained relationship, or financial worries. On a piece of paper, draw 2 columns. Label the first things I can't control and the second things I can control. Under the first, list 5 things about this situation you can't influence. For example, if you're worried about a job interview, you might write the interviewer's mood, the company's decision, other candidates' performance, the job market, or the outcome. Be honest. This step is about facing reality. Now, in the second column, list what you can control: your preparation, your attitude, your effort, how you present yourself, and how you handle feedback. For each item in the can't control list, write 1 action you can take in the can control column to address it. For instance, if you can't control the interviewer's mood, you can control smiling and staying calm. This exercise, inspired by Epictetus's teachings, helps you shift focus from worry to action. Spend 10 minutes on this and notice how it clarifies your priorities. You can't control the outcome, but you can control your effort, and that's enough. To deepen your practice, start a Stoic journal. Each evening for 1 week, take 5 minutes to write about a challenge you faced that day. Split your entry into 3 parts. What happened? The event. What you couldn't control, external factors. And what you could control, your response. For example, today, a coworker snapped at me during a meeting. I couldn't control their stress or words, but I could control staying calm and responding professionally. Then, reflect on how focusing on your response made you feel. Did it reduce your stress? Build your confidence? This practice, rooted in Marcus Aurelius's reflective meditations, trains you to separate external events from your inner choices. Over time, it rewires your mind to default to what you can control, making you more resilient. Try this for 7 days, and you'll start seeing challenges as opportunities to practice Stoic wisdom. These activities aren't just tasks, they're a way to live the dichotomy of control. The control list gives you clarity, helping you let go of what's beyond your power and act on what's within it. Journaling builds a habit of reflection, turning Stoic principles into daily practice. Together, they empower you to face life's chaos with purpose. As Seneca said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. These exercises make that power tangible, helping you navigate stress with calm and focus. Start small. Do the control list once this week and journal for a few nights. Keep your lists and entries somewhere accessible, like a notebook or phone app, so you can revisit them. If you feel overwhelmed, focus on 1 action from your can control list each day. Over time, these small steps will compound, building a mindset that thrives in any storm. In the next part, we'll explore challenges you might face, applying this principle, and how to overcome them. Stay with us. Applying the dichotomy of control sounds straightforward. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't. But in practice, it's not always easy. Our minds are wired to cling to outcomes, and society often rewards external results over inner mastery. When you try to live like a Stoic, you'll face challenges that test your resolve. Let's explore 3 common obstacles to applying the dichotomy of control and practical ways to overcome them, so you can stay grounded in Stoic wisdom no matter what life throws at you. It's human nature to react emotionally to setbacks. A harsh comment, a rejection, or bad news can trigger anger or anxiety before you even think. This makes it hard to focus on what you can control. Imagine you get passed over for a promotion. Your first instinct might be to stew over your boss's decision, which you can't change. To overcome this, pause and breathe. The Stoics used a practice called premeditatio malorum, mentally rehearsing challenges to prepare your response. Before a big moment, visualize potential setbacks and decide how you'll react with calm and focus. For example, tell yourself, if I don't get the promotion, I'll focus on improving my skills. When emotions flare, write down what you can control: your effort, your attitude, and act on one thing immediately, like scheduling a feedback session. This shifts you from reaction to action, aligning with Epictetus's advice. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We live in a world obsessed with outcomes. Money, status, likes, friends, family, or social media can make you feel that your worth depends on external success, pulling you away from Stoic principles. If you focus on your actions rather than results, others might call you passive. Take Sarah from our earlier story. When she stopped obsessing over job offers and focused on her effort, a friend questioned her lack of ambition. To counter this, anchor yourself in Stoic values. Remind yourself that true success is living with integrity, not chasing applause. When pressure mounts, revisit Marcus Aurelius's words. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Surround yourself with supportive people who respect your growth, and limit time with those who fuel comparison. If social media triggers you, curate your feed to highlight voices that inspire resilience, not competition. Your inner compass, not external validation, defines your path. Overthinking is a trap, replaying what you can't control, like others' opinions or past mistakes, keeps you stuck. You might dwell on a failed project, wondering what if, instead of moving forward. The Stoics tackled this with disciplined focus. Seneca advised, "We suffer more from imagination than from reality." To break the cycle, set a time limit for reflection: 5 minutes to acknowledge the issue. Then shift to action. Use the control list from our earlier exercise. Write down what's eating at you. Separate what you can't control, and pick one controllable action, like learning a new skill or apologizing sincerely. If overthinking persists, try a Stoic practice called amor fati, love your fate. Embrace what you can't change as a chance to grow. This mindset shift turns obstacles into opportunities, freeing you from mental loops. These challenges, emotional reactivity, social pressure, overthinking are normal, but they don't have to stop you. The Stoics saw life as a training ground. Each obstacle is a chance to practice. Start small, pause before reacting, seek supportive voices, and redirect overthinking to action. With time, the dichotomy of control becomes second nature. In our final part, we'll wrap up with a powerful conclusion to inspire you to live this principle every day. Stay with us. We've journeyed through the dichotomy of control, a Stoic principle that offers clarity in a chaotic world, from Epictetus's timeless wisdom to Sarah's modern transformation. We've seen how focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and choices, frees you from the weight of what you can't. Whether it's navigating economic uncertainty, social media noise, strained relationships, or health challenges, this principle empowers you to live with purpose and resilience. The Stoics, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, showed us that true strength lies not in mastering the world, but in mastering ourselves. Modern science, like CBT, confirms this, proving that focusing on your response reduces anxiety and builds mental toughness. You don't need to control the economy, others' opinions, or life's unpredictability to find peace. You only need to control your mind and actions. This isn't about ignoring reality, it's about facing it with courage, choosing to act with integrity no matter the storm. The exercises we shared, making a control list and Stoic journaling, are your starting point. They're simple but powerful, helping you shift from worry to action. Challenges like emotional reactivity or overthinking will arise, but with practice, you'll overcome them, just as the Stoics did. Now, it's your turn. Take one step today. Do the control list for a situation stressing you out, or journal about a challenge tonight. These small acts build a habit of Stoic resilience, transforming how you navigate life. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Carry this wisdom forward, and let it guide you to a life of purpose, no matter what comes. If this video inspired you, hit the subscribe button and join the Lab Stoic community. Share your thoughts in the comments. How will you apply the dichotomy of control today? Your journey matters, and we're here to support it. Stay stoic, stay strong, and we'll see you in the next video.